So there you have it. I mean, everything in the game points to the obvious, which is that it's Aerith. And Aerith is canon. But the problem is with people, they don't want to think logically. And I'm sorry, but it's a pet peeve of mine, because as a cleric, you have to focus on the logic of things. It's how it works. So I feel like I've shown clearly and conclusively that it is all about Aerith. But you know what? People are hard-headed. They're stubborn. And when they're faced with the hard truth that goes against their preferences, their delusions, their main tactic is to try and divert, to change the subject.
Look over there. Look over there. Look over there.
Where?
And so even though I don't really think it's relevant, I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring up the elephant in the room. If we're going to be academic, systematic, and scientific about this, we have to address all of the counterclaims that people like to bring up. So let's talk about it. Yes, Tifa. Tifa. Just people love to bring up Tifa. It's all about Tifa.
Tifa.
Oyasumi. Tifa.
I don't know what she has to do with the topic at hand, but that's where people love to go with it. So let's talk about Tifa. Who is Tifa? We've already established who Aerith is, the light in Cloud's life. But who's this Tifa? Well, Tifa is a childhood friend. That is her official designation. If you look in official materials affiliated with Final Fantasy VII, that's her description, childhood friend. Tomodachi. Okay? In Japanese terms. Key word there is friend. Doesn't have anything to do with romance, but people, they bring it up like it's somehow significant. Childhood friend. Well, you know what? A childhood. I mean, that doesn't tell you anything about what kind of person someone's going to be, what they're made of, what they're about. And, people need to, I don't want to be rude, but we need to expand our horizons a little bit, put the controller down, and crack open a psychology book, and learn the difference between childhood and adulthood. Because I've got a newsflash for you. At the beginning of Final Fantasy VII, and I don't know if I stated this, right now we are focusing on the original game. We're just going to focus on the original right now. Came out in 97. But newsflash, Cloud is not a child. He's an adult. He's 21. So childhood, it has no relevance. So I don't see anything there. There's no romance. There's nothing. And if we want to get into it, even Tifa herself admits, when she really thinks about it, she thought they were close as children, but they weren't. They didn't even know each other. Tifa was too busy running around with her little posse of sycophants. Too focused on herself as usual. She didn't care about Cloud. Not until she finds out that he wants to join Soldier. Because you know what? Tifa's many things, and one of them is she's a clout chaser. Let's just be plain with it. Clout chaser and a cloud chaser, but only once she knows he's going off to Soldier and might be famous. That's all it's about. There's no romance there. So the childhood friend thing, doesn't mean anything. Next, what else do we know about Tifa that's supposed to be significant? Again, like a broken record, people love this point. They love to say, well, Aerith's dead, Tifa's alive, so Tifa wins by default, automatically. Number one, I'm going to say that if the only thing you got going for you is that you're not dead, it's not necessarily something to be proud about. I mean, this is your one true pair. Hey, Cloud, what is it that you like about Tifa? Well, she's not dead. She's alive. She breathes, and she's warm. I mean, come on, guys. We gotta have better standards than that. That is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. That's your defense, that Tifa is alive. Do better. That's not romance. And, you know, it's still wishful thinking because there is no romance. Tifa isn't second best. She isn't Cloud's second choice. She's not his choice at all. There's nothing there.
Beautiful.
There's no romance. There's no romance. I don't see anything that Cloud and Tifa do that is more than something, you know, brother and sister would do. They have a brother-sister vibe. I mean, I would know. I have a brother. And Tifa and Cloud have never done anything that I haven't done with my brother. They're platonic siblings. So get off of it and stop harping on this Tifa's alive argument. Because guess what? Barrett's alive. Sephiroth's alive. And he's kind of discombobulated from his body at that time, but he's alive. Does that mean he and Cloud are canon? I don't think so. So what else can we say about Tifa? I mean, she sits there glomming onto Cloud like a freaking parasite. She just won't leave him alone. It's like, God, Tifa, what does he have to do to get some space from this woman? I mean, the man is pure catatonic at one point, sitting there immobile. Can't speak. Can't function. His eyes bugged out. And Tifa still won't leave the man alone. It's like, come on, Tifa. Have some self-respect. And so she just stays there. Oh, I'm not going to leave your side. Cloud's the only one I care about. It's all about Cloud. Okay, Tifa. Okay. But Cloud, his mind is elsewhere. His mind is on Aerith. So after that, you just have Tifa hanging around. And it is what it is. Again, I don't see any romance there. What does it have to do with Aerith? What does it have to do with Cloud? There's nothing. People do love to, and again, we're going to address it. I don't really think it has any bearing on anything, but people love to bring up this idea of the live stream. So let's talk about that. Let's get that out of the way. Now, number one, it just boggles the mind that, I mean, Cloud can't even have time to himself in his own mind. Tifa just has to dig into his business. She gets into his business and she gets into his very mind. That's Tifa. And Cloud comes out of it and he's himself. And hey, I'm sure he's grateful to Tifa for whatever she called herself doing. Hey, Tifa, thanks. Thanks, bud. You know, fist bump. Good on you. And so what? What changes? Nothing. They still have the dynamic of siblings, platonic siblings. I don't see romance. That's not romance. And the final thing I'll bring up, because again, this is the other thing that people love to harp on. I don't really think it's relevant, once again, but they love to harp on it, and it's the Highwind. That toward the end of the game, Tifa and Cloud are under the Highwind, and what? What happens under the Highwind? You have Tifa, per usual, talking her stuff, going on and on about whatever. And Cloud's like, yeah, really? Oh, you know, he's humoring her. Okay, he's patient. She says something about feelings, and, you know, they speak louder than the words, and I don't know. She says what she says, the camera pans up, and you fade to black. Okay. I don't know about you, but I don't know what Cloud and Tifa are doing. I don't know, and you don't know either. Nobody knows. It's not shown. We don't know. So the point is, people like to claim, for whatever reason, that Cloud and Tifa sleep together, that they do the do. Now, first of all, let's back up a little bit. Something that I forgot to mention is that there are actually two. It's optional, this Highwind scene. There are two versions. You have the low affection scene. If you treat Tifa like dirt throughout the game, you're going to get this low affection version. And then you have the high affection version. You know, if you humor Tifa and you tell her what she wants to hear, because otherwise she just won't leave you alone, you get this high affection scene. And people like to claim that it's canon. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's go there. Let's say that we're going to go with the high affection Highwind scene. Okay, what happens? You know, it's like I said, Tifa talks stuff, the camera pans up, and you fade to black. Now, I don't get what people are talking about. They're just making stuff up. I don't know what Cloud and Tifa are doing. Maybe they're 10 feet apart, and they're sitting there awkwardly twiddling their thumbs like, wow, we have quite a day ahead of us tomorrow. I don't know. No one knows. So why I'm supposed to find validity in this random claim that something happens physically between Cloud and Tifa, I have no idea. I mean, if we want to play that game, I can make something up. Maybe they're playing Parcheesi. Maybe they're cutting carrots because they're getting ready to make a stew because it's chilly out. I mean, I don't know if carrots are really a thing in Final Fantasy VII, and I'm not sure where they're getting the utensils from to cut the carrots, and then they would need something to put the stew in, and I don't know all these details. That's the point. I'm just making it up. It doesn't make any sense. But if I had to choose between the two, at least if they were cutting carrots, it wouldn't contradict what came before. On the other hand, the idea that Cloud and Tifa had something going, I mean, there's no precedent there. Where is this coming from? How do they go from being platonic siblings to sleeping together? That's nasty. It's incest, and it's wrong. But it's just pure imagination. And people don't want to think this through. You gotta understand the context. Okay, this is 1997. This is Square Enix. This is a game that broke boundaries, that was ahead of its time. And Square was trying to use techniques, not just technically, as far as the game goes, gameplay and those mechanics, but as far as storytelling. Okay, so here they're trying to do something that really is unprecedented, that you hadn't seen in any medium, games or otherwise. With this camera pan and this fade to black. Like, what is that, Square? They don't even know, but they're trying. They're trying to be artsy and avant-garde, as you would say in French. And you know what? Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I give them credit for trying. But the point is, there was no precedent. There's nothing that you could look to in the past to try and interpret what Square was trying to do. And, to be honest, it didn't quite work. And so this isn't a technique that you saw afterward either, that you saw people using in any particular way. So the only thing you have to refer to is Final Fantasy VII itself. And there's nothing within the game that points at all to any sort of romantic relationship between Cloud and Tifa. So I don't know what happened under the Highwind. No one does. So again, no romance. So what do we have other than that? Oh, the next morning, Tifa, being the drama queen she always is freaking out. Oh no, you guys were here? You saw us? You saw what we did? How embarrassing. Like, Tifa, get over yourself. What did they see? Y'all sitting there 20 feet apart, twiddling your thumbs? Y'all cutting up some carrots for some imaginary stew? I mean, come on, Tifa, get over yourself. But, I think you get the point. No matter what you try to bring up about Tifa, she's inconsequential. There's no romance. At best, she's that kind of nuisance, that person who just won't leave you alone, who wants to call herself a friend. And she has nothing to do with Aerith. She has nothing to do with Cloud. She just doesn't rate. So I'm going to go back to my original point, the point that counts. It is about Aerith. Aerith is Cloud's one true love. And that's that. And because I know people are hard-headed, I'm going to break it down for you. We had the points. We had point 1, promotional materials. Point 2, it begins and ends with Aerith. Point 3, the story. Point 3a, oh, and another thing. Point 4, death is overrated. And point 5, Tifa doesn't rate. She doesn't matter. She has nothing to do with anything. So you know what? I think I've gone on long enough. Okay? I know that you guys are stubborn. I know you don't want to believe it. The game tells you everything you need to know. But we're going to go further. Beyond the original game, into the compilation, the remake. I'm just going to break it down because I'm so tired of this needless debate. There's no debate. It's Aerith. So I will be back with more. I'm sure. I'm sure.